Okay, so this video was going to be about how a surfer got on surfing a twin fin for the first time. But we've decided to talk about something far more interesting. Something that impacts nearly every surfer that visits the wave pool, irrespective of what wave standard they surf or how good they are. And that has also been doing my head in for a long time now. We're going to talk about takeoffs.
My name is James Davis, and I've been a skydiver for over 20 years, jumping and competing all around the world. In the last 18 months, I've been surfing at the Wavepool in Bristol to see if wave pools can do for surfing what wind tunnels did for skydiving. I wanted to see what would happen if an average surfer trained at the Wavepool for a year, and if they could learn to get barreled, sharing all the mistakes, learning points, and experiences along the way.
Where do the pro surfers like to take off? And what are their reasons for their approach? Where do you take off in the wave pool and why? If you're like me, an average surfer who has just been happy to catch the wave and get to his feet, but is now wondering what's next, what are the important fundamentals to learn, and what mistakes am I currently making, then you may be interested to hear the information I have found and what has been useful to me. Now before I continue, this isn't going to be a video from a low experienced surfer pretending to be a coach. It also isn't going to be a video from a keyboard warrior who reads some stuff on the internet and pretends they came up with it. With that being said, it seems it is possible to be interested in the pastime we enjoy so much and start looking for some decent information, digest it, and share the links for other people to enjoy. It also explains why there have been way less posts on this vlog. I will reveal what I've been up to once we finish the videos and what useful information I found on the pop-up process and catching a wave. So why is the takeoff so important? Well, if you spend any time at a wave pool, either in the water or watching from the side, then you will see that the takeoff is the biggest problem for most surfers. It is probably the case in the sea too, but at the wave pool there is no hiding it, and most surfers recognise it too. It doesn't seem to matter what type of wave setting, type of board being used, or any other segmentation. The takeoff just seems to be an issue for a lot of people, including myself. Okay, so let's get started with some useful information and what can help us all. First up, is paddling alone enough to catch a wave? You may all have known this, but I didn't. I understood that a surfer has to match the speed of a wave in order to catch it. And I could wrap my head around the theory that foam is your friend and that length, volume, less drag from board design meant a surfer could get into a wave earlier. But I never really fully understood that paddling alone couldn't generate the speed needed to catch a wave. So if paddling alone isn't enough to catch a wave, what else do we need? In the last vlog, we mentioned a paddling coach called Rob Case. If you don't know about him, go to his YouTube channel and check some of his videos out. He has some old ones explaining how Mick Fanning or Kelly Slater paddle. He coaches all levels of surfers from Kelly Slater all the way down to us normal people, and the work seems to be well researched and logically explained, so giving his work some credibility would seem reasonable. I've put lots of links to his videos in the description section below. One of the key points I learned from Rob's content was that paddling on its own won't be enough for a surfer to catch a wave. Rob uses the following data to explain the thesis. Some research called the shallow water wave formula basically says that when a 2-foot wave occurs, it moves on average at 6.2 miles per hour. A 4-foot wave moves at around 8.8 miles an hour. A 10-foot wave moves at 13.8 miles per hour. And for bigger waves, they move even faster and in a non-linear way. So a 40-foot true height wave moves at 27.7 miles per hour. From just paddling, a surfer can move between 3 to 5 miles per hour, depending on what board they are on. So where does a surfer find the extra speed to catch a wave? Even a 2-foot wave moves at 6 miles per hour, in excess of what you can achieve paddling. The answer are two other forces. The first is gravity. The second is something Rob Case refers to as orbital energy, which is where the bottom part of the wave moves at a slower speed due to the wave touching the ocean floor, whilst the top part of the wave keeps moving at the same speed. With regards to gravity, What also made a lot of sense to me was the concept of ramp angles, and what the minimum steepness of the ramp was needed to reach the speed required to catch it. A 10-degree ramp equals a 1.8 mile per hour increase in speed within 1 second. A 20 degrees ramp relates to a 5.5 miles per hour acceleration, and at 30 degrees there is a 9.3 miles per hour acceleration. So the minimum ramp to catch a 2-foot wave when using a shortboard is 20 to 30 degrees. For a longer board with less drag that can generate more speed from paddling, they need a slightly lower gradient ramp, which obviously explains why these boards can get into waves earlier. Okay, so a surfer needs help from the wave to catch it, and also needs to find the right wave face or ramp to do so. This has two implications. One is lateral. How close to the wave breaking does a surfer have to be? The other is longitudinal. How far back or forward should a surfer be? If you watch the pros, they're always so perfectly positioned and right at the peak. Now, there are some nuances around this topic, such as what type of wave is being discussed. But let's just deal with discussing a normal wave and the two simple factors just mentioned. If we bring it back to the wave pool, then what this really means is how close to the wall and how far forward should a surfer position themselves. In a previous vlog, I observed that it was easier for me to take off 2 meters away from the wall on the Advanced Plus wave setting. This now makes total sense, and that setting up there provided enough ramp to take off, whilst not being as intense as the more critical part of the wave next to the wall. To summarise, it's clear that I'm not currently good enough to take off by the wall on the bigger wave settings, but longer term it seems this is what I should be working towards, as this is where the most energy is. It also seems there are a lot of other important factors in this conversation about where to position yourself to catch a wave, and a lot depends on the type of wave and wave shape. If you want to watch some interesting footage, then have a look at Luke Davis surfing silverbacks in Panama, research the term chip shot, or listen to Rob Case breaking down Mason Ho paddling into this wave. Let's just stick with the distance from the wall learning point and finish off by looking at some examples from Alaya Bay in Switzerland to demonstrate what we've been talking about. As the surfer starts paddling by the wall, the wave face gets to around 35 degrees. 2 meters from the wall, the wave ramp is around 20 degrees. Both places have enough angle to allow the wave to be caught. Further out on the shoulder, the wave shape is more shallow and therefore not good for catching the wave. All obvious stuff, but now better understood with the shallow wave formula data. As the wave develops, you can see it steepen, so that it is close to 60 degrees in the top 2/3 of the wave by the wall, and around 40 degrees 2 meters away. You can see that the surfer is up on his feet by this time, and able to deal with the steeper wave, but obviously needs to have a good pop-up process in order to achieve this. What we've mainly been talking about in the video so far is the first of the two positioning considerations, which is how close to the wall we need to be. In order to finish off the discussion, we need to discuss how far forward to the wave breaking a surfer needs to be. You can see here that further back as the wave forms, the ramp is too shallow for the surfer to catch the wave. How fast the wave forms, the type of wave you are dealing with, how much time you have to catch it, and your pop-up techniques seem to be the key factors to consider. More on this in the next video. In the next episode, we continue with discussing positioning. Look at how long a pro surfer is taking to pop up, what approaches they use to achieve their results, whilst also looking at what I've been doing and the areas which I can improve on.